Health Ministry employee arrested for guns and bribery. Tugboat catches fire and sinks at dock. Hit-and-run driver remanded to prison. And why growing wheat in Guyana is pointless. I'm Enrico Bulford, and this is Uncut News. Do you see news happening? Send us a tip on WhatsApp at 592-659-6151. The police have arrested several employees of the Health Ministry's Bond in Diamond following reports of theft at the bond. One of the employees is now facing additional scrutiny and charges after he attempted to bribe the police twice after officers found 2 guns and a large sum of cash in the young man's car. He had reportedly offered investigators over $1.7 million in cash not to charge him, and then increased his offer to $4.5 million when they warned him that bribery is a serious offense. He is still in police custody, and they also took the money. Not to keep, they confiscated it properly. Supposedly. Anyway, on the topic of young men with questionably large sums of money, the police have finally released the name of the young businessman who was arrested at his home in Georgetown last Friday. 30-year-old Nicholas Samaru was just charged with allegedly trafficking just over 2 kilograms of marijuana. It was reportedly found in a cooler in the bottom flat of the man's home, which he shares with other relatives. During the search, a large quantity of local and foreign currency was found, as well as several bottles of uncustomed liquor. Samaru told the court that the weed isn't even his, and the bottom flat where the cooler was found is actually rented out to another individual. Nevertheless, he was remanded to jail until the 1st of April. Bright and early yesterday morning, a tugboat went up in flames and sank into the Demerara River whilst docked at the Gopi Wharf in Friendship. The vessel's captain was hospitalized for minor injuries. The fire was reportedly spotted around 7:30 a.m. and its origin remains unknown. Nevertheless, the fire service deployed a fireboat to out the flames. 28-year-old Mason Nazim Passad was remanded to prison yesterday for the murder of GDF medic Chavez Mongol. Passad was accused of having fatally stabbed Mongol over the music being played during a wedding celebration. He was not required to plead to the indictable charge, and he will be back in court May 13th. Now it's time to tell you about Best Buy's car of the day. Currently on sale is this 2014 Audi Q3. It comes with Bluetooth, mug rims, new tires, TV, CD, fog lamps, electronic parking brake, back camera, and much, much more. Buy cash for $5.6 million. All pay down as low as $1,120,000 down, with around $108,000 monthly for 5 years, and it's yours. Call or WhatsApp 662-0844 for more info, or visit the showrooms in Lot 171 Peter Street, Queenstown, or Lot 2 Lamar Street, and tell America sent you for this sweet deal. Today, 44-year-old Michael Hercules was charged for attempted murder. Hercules is a customs officer from London who was arrested for the stabbing of his wife on Saturday during an argument in his car. The injured woman remains hospitalized with wounds to the chest, foot, and hands. He was not required to enter a plea and was immediately remanded to jail, where Hercules will remain until the 3rd of May. Today, 37-year-old Vivendra Ramdhari was charged with 2 counts of causing death by dangerous driving, 2 counts of failure to render assistance, and failure to report an accident. The court says that last Friday, Ramdhari got into a hit-and-run accident on the number 70 public road that claimed the lives of 2 pedestrians, 20-year-old Tony Lakaram and 28-year-old Felicia Fernandez. He was not required to plead to the 2 counts of causing death, but pleaded not guilty to the other charges. Nevertheless, he was remanded to prison until April 14th. The police are also looking for a second vehicle that reportedly struck one of the victims after the first accident. A 30-year-old taxi driver is currently hospitalized after an unknown man shot him in the leg on Friday night. The police are only reporting the shooting now, which took place at the Freedom Bar Nightclub in Soesdijk. According to the cops, the poor guy was just drinking with his friends when all of a sudden the man just walked up and shot him before fleeing the scene. The police have yet to announce any arrests. Who said luxury can't be affordable? Move into your own home in 2022. Lenore Estates West Coast Demerara properties are within your reach. Move out of the landlord's place and put that rent money towards your own 5,000 square foot property. Call or WhatsApp 592-618-5702 for more info. The battle between the millers and the rice farmers over the paddy price has been ongoing for several weeks in the quarantine. But now 63,000 a tonne seems to be the final price set. Minister of Agriculture Zulfikar Mustafa said yesterday. The millers had agreed to pay 65,000 a tonne after dropping it from 70,000 to 60,000, and in turn the government reduced the export commission and slashed the scanning fee. But then the millers reneged on the agreement and dropped the price again to 61,000. and the millers want the government to give them even more concessions before they'll pay more for the paddy. Now, because we live in extreme fear of price controls in Guyana, because, I don't know, for some reason, even though we claim to be socialists, we just absolutely love the free market. But anyway, because of all that mess, the government cannot force the millers to accept the price. They can merely negotiate between the two sides and see how they can sweeten the deal if possible. Mustafa's promises of negotiating for better fertilizer costs from international suppliers have seemingly convinced the millers to pay the agreed rate for now. So, good on him. Now for today's oil update. Echo Atlantic Oil and Gas Limited has just released a report it commissioned WSP USA Inc. to compile. And according to them, in terms of oil, the Oranduk block holds an estimated 8.1 billion barrels of crude and approximately 6.8 billion barrels of natural gas. I didn't know they measure natural gas in such a way, but 6.8 barrels of natural gas. Echo also said it is entitled to 681 million barrels of oil and 544 billion cubic feet of that block's natural gas. Most recently, Echo announced a binding term sheet to acquire JHI's 17.5% interest in the Kanji block, and before that, samples were recovered from Jethro 1 and the Joe 1 wells. They were considered mobile heavy crudes with high sulfur content, meaning that they didn't think it was profitable enough to develop the wells. While Echo hasn't made any Exxon-level discoveries yet, they nevertheless hope to do so sooner than later. You can multiply your cash by selling Digicel Top-Up. This is a legit way to earn some extra money at your business or to supplement your current hustle. Become a top-up vendor quick and easy by linking with Cellular Plus. Call them on telephone number 685-3109 for more info. Now for our stupid news of the day. You know what I think is stupid? Forward-mindedness. First, we want to have buildings like Dubai. Now we want to eat like America. And it looks like we want to eat like them so bad that the agriculture minister has the absolutely asinine idea of wasting taxpayer time and money on experimenting on varieties of wheat that can grow in tropical climates. Yes, I just got done speaking well of him and now I'm abusing him. It's called being unbiased. Try it for change. But seriously, I don't know what has got into Zulfikar Mustafa's mind. Like, honestly, what sort of genius decides that instead of using what you already have, you will attempt to pervert the laws of science just to fulfill a national desire for cheap bread? Well, here's a newsflash. While it's possible to grow wheat in a tropical environment, it's wholly unnecessary because we already have a cheap, high-quality alternative to wheat flour. It's called rice. Rice flour is a healthy, gluten-free substitute for wheat that vegans in the US and Europe pay top dollar for. But you can't even beg most Guyanese to eat rice flour, even if it were the last food on earth. But honestly, makes no sense. Why waste money importing old flour from the US, making them rich, when we could be paying our own rice millers to feed us? Last time I checked, the rice farmers usually vote PPP. I think the government needs to be seriously pushing for the increased production and consumption of rice flour and other native foods over other imported food. I don't know. Maybe it gives old folks too many flashbacks of hungry bellies and political oppression to think about rice flour. But all I'll say is that you can criticize Burnham for all the things. Honestly, you could criticize him for a lot of things. But you cannot deny that if we listened to him about the self-sufficiency pot, we wouldn't be in this stupid position. Now for our Uncut News Viewers Poll Question of the Day. Every day we pose a question about current events in Guyana, the region, the diaspora, and how you feel it relates to us. Yesterday's question was about inflation and how it's affecting you. Losh said, "Could only talk about gas and I pay $2,000 more to fill my tank. That's about 29% more. But for groceries? Man, I just close my eyes and swipe my card every fortnight. I don't want to think about it yet." Oh gosh, you and I do. I just know that last time I went with money, I had to take things out of my cart. Shame. No, honestly, you are not alone. Many people are struggling right now. It's terrible. Crazy Sparman says, cost of living gone up by 30% on average, but wages and salary are way behind. So glad I work for myself. Indeed, it's honestly the only way to make it right here. That or having a good side hustle, which you can have through Cellular Plus. So check them out. You already know I got to plug the sponsors whenever I can. And finally, Dopamine says, prices are up no doubt. But how are locally produced items getting up in price when most of them are manufactured by locally sourced items? Guyanese love to exaggerate things too. In Guyana, when things go up, it never comes back down in price. That's capitalism for you, I guess. I understand that crude has a lot to do with things, and a lot of things in the world, but not everything. The flour price hike is justifiable. Wheat is European, but the use of the fuel price increase to justify raising the price of even dry coconuts is insane. But honestly, you've even seen that they've done the same thing with hand sanitizers and masks during the pandemic. Yes, I agree. You have a lot of people who are currently taking advantage of this situation and profiting of it. It's sick, and I believe that the government needs to intervene in some way, shape, or form. So, with that being said, inflation is high and the local farmers are broke. So, do you think the government should increase taxes on imported food and decrease taxes on local foods, or would that just be unfair competition? So with that being said, I want you to think about that question. Tell us in the comments below. And if your response is good enough, we just might feature it in our next episode. Anyway, that's all the time we have for tonight, and check us out tomorrow for another. Until then, I'm Rico Bulford saying good night, folks.